Hello, my dear friends. Today we continue to explore the diary of German Oberleutnant Martin Steglich. Remember to rate the video and also leave your opinion about this video. And we're about to begin. August 19th, 1941. Yesterday it was stifling heat again. The rivulets of sweat ran down even from those who were just lying motionless. A thunderstorm came in the afternoon, bringing freshness and clearing the air. In the evening, I visited the battalion headquarters to talk and get some news. My Sunday assumptions about the Soviets' breakthrough came true. 5 of their divisions broke through our defenses south of Staraya Russa, but General Lieb, our former regimental commander, managed to stop their breakthrough with a hastily formed force of 3 regiments. Well, it's not the first time that he has been in such rebuilds, so now he will certainly be awarded the long-awaited and fully deserved Knight's Cross, and this mob will be surrounded and annihilated. It's now 2:20 p.m. At 3 p.m., the 1st Battalion with 2 companies will start a charge against the Reds positioned in front of them. By all estimates, we'll be here another 8 days. I'm again making those never-ending rounds of our front line. My uniform pants are always getting torn. I simply attach a new patch on them. Eventually, depending on how long the war will last, there will be new pants consisting of nothing but patches. August 20th. The night was calm. I heard no sounds of the enemy. The nights nowadays are as dark as they could be. Carrying out a sortie, the 1st Battalion faced a strong resistance of the enemy and by evening fell back. The Reds have prepared for defense. This morning I was awakened by the commander of our regiment. He visited the battalion and stopped by to see me. We had a short talk and he handed me the honorable list of the German land forces, which mentioned also my name. Our general was also with us. I immediately prepared everything to send the list home. It would be wrong to keep it here. Our forces are already at the distance of 40 kilometers from Leningrad. Tomorrow, on August 21st, the attack at Velikaya Luki should begin. That means that we, too, will probably move forward in a few days. It is cloudy, no sunshine, and windless. It is disappointing that the soldiers force me to punish them for their misconduct during guard duty, even with the most serious measures at my disposal. I am astounded at the irresponsibility of these guys, who have no thought for the possible consequences of their actions. I could say one thing for sure. If they had not been brave and courageous soldiers who had only once stepped out of line, this case would have been submitted to a tribunal. It should be obvious that the most stupid man should have realized what kinds of raids the Russians were able to conduct at night, and yet there was such irresponsible behavior. August 23rd. Yesterday I was at the division to see the 2nd officer of the general headquarters, in the department of the chairman of the court-martial. The most pleasant thing about it was the 50-kilometer ride itself. It was the first time for such a long time that I had driven in an automobile. Driving an open car of high cross-country ability, I experienced the curl permanent of the so-called Russian roads. At night, I inspected the guard posts again, and therefore practically didn't sleep. The night's sleep turns out to be fragmented. Frequently, I have to lash out at my subordinates for various duty incidents. The sentries carry out the duty without proper vigilance. The non-commissioned officers do something wrong, and even my officer in the company's command and control unit sometimes makes such a mess that it makes my hair stand on end. These young fellows are too reckless. They'll make a mess of things, but in fact, they're pretty good at what they do. Yesterday, our troops moved to the south and west of Velikaya Luki. The tanks cut off the Reds' retreat. We are waiting for now. This mob will be driven right towards us. 32,000 disc-shape and mortar mines have been placed in front of our section. I hope the Russians will be blown up by them as much. Yesterday I got a replenishment of 1 non-commissioned officer and 11 soldiers. They're very young men. The youngest is 17 years old. I have to be more gentle with them. First of all, they need to learn all the features of the campaign in Russia, to learn about all the tricks that are used by the Reds in the fighting, to get used to the landscape of this USSR, to study the situation, and then they can engage in battle. Besides, they will have to learn a lot more about military affairs. August 24th. After interrogating and writing a report on the incident, I decided to submit the case to the tribunal against 2 soldiers for serious misconduct in guard duty. Despite all my exhortations, the same thing happened again. Now I'll let the court-martial decide. These guys are incredibly irresponsible. After all, the life of the whole company depends on such individuals. Are there not enough instances of Russians slaughtering whole units because of sleeping sentries? August 25th. About yesterday, as a special Sunday occupation, I had to write reports on violations of guard duty. 2 sentries left their guard post unauthorized, went 25 meters back to their positions and fell asleep. What if the Russians had arrived in the area? No more leniency. These guys should be court-martialed for such irresponsible and criminal behavior. In the afternoon, it rained heavily. Then there was a meeting at the 7th Company Commander's headquarters. Today at 12 p.m., the 7th Company, with attached attack groups from the 1st and 3rd Battalions, conducted a short sortie. I, with my company, moved from the positions of the 7th Company. The attack was successful, and we accomplished the task. And again, it was the same old song. They defended themselves until the last. We even had to drag them out from under the floorboards in the huts. By evening, at dusk, our attack groups were withdrawing back. We returned to our holes. Today, all day long, there were short but heavy gully washers. August 28th. On Tuesday, nothing of note happened. I trained young recruits to throw hand grenades. In the evening, I visited the battalion headquarters. Yesterday, on Wednesday, I went to the division to attend a court-martial of 2 soldiers who were responsible for the guards. The session was very long. The sentence was as follows. Lieutenant F was sentenced to 5 years hard labor and was declared unfit for military service and demoted in rank. Rifleman H was sentenced to a 1.5 years in prison. And suddenly there was a pleasant news. There would be a new cinema show in the division. Though it was raining cats and dogs, the mood was great. At night, I tried to drive back, but with no success. The automobiles were just sliding off the road. I had to spend the night with the rear soldiers of the 14th Company. At dawn, I set off on the road to my company. I had to cross 2 fords along the way. We hope very much that we will not be here for long. At Velikaya Luki, the situation progresses. Yesterday, the Russians lost 40,000 killed and 30,000 captured. August 29th. The meeting with the commander is about to begin. The offensive is scheduled for tomorrow, and we are leaving our positions. The weather's as bad as it gets, chilly and rainy. I've got a cold, evidently while driving an automobile. I got chills and terrible diarrhea. August 31st. That's what's remarkable. Every Sunday, something always happens to us. It was initially supposed that we would launch an attack on Pogost Volok on August 30th, but now it has been postponed to August 31st. The reconnaissance reported that the Russians had pulled out of there, moving to the southeast. We immediately started to pursue them. In Pogost Volok, we found the graves of our fallen men desecrated. These swines descend even to desecrating the graves of ordinary soldiers. We reached Renovo and set up a combat guard for the night. September 1st, 1941. Today, since morning, we are on the march, guarding against an attack from Krasnopolets. We, 7th and 5th Companies, moved deep into the rear of the Russians, thus making it easier to carry out the task for the 89th Infantry Regiment. The Russians in Pogost Volok must have been captured or wiped out. The encirclement of the enemy turned out to be great thanks to our efforts and the advance of the 89th Regiment towards Krasnopolets. As soon as we joined up with the 89th Infantry Regiment, we immediately set up a guard. Now we are sitting in the basement of a former manor house. We could guess, as in many other places, that it was once a manor house and a landlord's house only by the ruins of the foundations and the completely desolated garden. As soon as we started driving, it started to rain. And what a rain! This is exactly how you imagine a heavy rain in Russia. We were soaked to the skin. It was good that at least we had found some straw. Tonight, I hope we will have some rest. The Russians have put a lot of mines in this place. The mines are in wooden boxes, and the mine detectors can't detect them. Fortunately, none of our men were blown up. September 3rd. The day and night before were something indescribable. The downpour didn't stop for a minute. The roads are so muddy that it is possible to move only at a snail's pace. During the whole day yesterday, we managed to cover only 8 kilometers. This figure alone is enough to realize what kind of suffering we had to bear. On the muddy roads, we were knee-deep in mud. Our tents and overcoats, everything was soaked through, up to the skin. Last night, it had stopped raining the previous night. A strong, gusty wind came from the northeast, and the roads started to slowly dry out. However, this temporary drying stage makes the roads even more problematic. The mud has become as viscous as glue. The transportation of everything we needed was now complicated by countless difficulties. I had to supply our kitchen with everything we needed from the local resources. Even now at lunchtime, my soldiers are busy picking and peeling potatoes, cabbage, and carrots. I hope the weather will clear up, and this will allow us to advance faster with fights to the Valdai Hills. In fact, now our artillery of the main regiment have to harness up to 10 horses to carry the guns. September 4th. At 9 o'clock, we set off. It rained all night again. That means that the roads are bad again. We managed to spend the night in warmth and on hay. September 6th. Yesterday, we covered about 15 kilometers. At first, it was quite acceptable weather, but at midday, it rained again. We moved a bit to the left, next to the 89th Infantry Regiment. To our left is the 48th Infantry Regiment, so we are in the center of the division. In the evening, we spent the night in another hellhole. Well, at least it's warm and dry. Until 11 p.m., the Russians bombarded the area around our night shelter with artillery pretty intensively. This morning at 7 a.m., we marched again on a terrible road. We are now taking a short rest break. And yet the main point is that we will soon reach our goal, the St. Petersburg-Moscow Railroad line, beyond Valdai. That is all for today. You can watch other episodes of this diary by following the link in the pinned comment. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and support the channel by subscribing. Goodbye everyone, until next time.